Hi, welcome back to my studio. I'm Barbara Swift. This is my little dog Coco, and you're watching BSwiftArt. In today's video, I'm just going to have some fun. I'm going to do an abstract painting, get my art supplies out, just start playing around, see what I come up with. I have no idea of how it's going to look in the end or even where I'm going to start. I'm just going to start putting some water on my paper, put some paint in there, move it around, and see what happens. Hopefully this will fire my neurons back up in my brain here. I've been out of my studio for a couple of weeks, so I need a little warm-up exercise, something that'll get my creative juices flowing again, spark some new ideas for some future paintings. So I'm just going to play today. Going to be very zen-like. We're going to see what happens, and I don't even know what's going to happen, so I hope it turns out. I hope you enjoy watching this video, and I hope that you can paint along with me. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, I'm going to use some of my super granulation paints from Schminky. And I'm also using my big giant floppy quill brush because it holds so much water. And I'm just going to start dropping some water on my paper. Just no particular pattern, just kind of making a wave going down it. Just having fun. I really don't know, like I said, how this all going to turn out, so I'm just kind of playing. So I'm going to drop some of those super granulated paints into this water and see what happens. Let's put a few little splashes on there. You can see that brush flipping down. It's really great for loose stuff. And I'll take a little bit of my paint here and mix me a puddle. So I'm going to go pretty thick, maybe milk consistency with this, like whole milk, because there's already so much water on the paper. So there, we're just going to drop it in here and drop in a little bit there. Watch it flow. See what happens. Just little dabs here and there. And in those little splashes, might as well put a little bit in those too. See what happens. Oh, don't pay any attention to my arm. I ran into a wall, scraped this top layer off. I always have bang up marks on my arms. I guess I run into a lot of things. I'm getting older, my skin's getting thin. So now I'm going to put another color in here. I'm putting in the blue one. That's a little bit darker. I have 3 colors of these super granulation paints. It's the Deep Sea Trio that I bought. So I'm going to lift up my pad here and let's just let it run a little bit and blend together and gather on the edges. See what it'll do. And now I'm just tapping it. Tap, tap. You see that big droplet that came down from the top? I'm trying to get some streaks running. Oh, got to clean up my table a little bit. Always good to have some paper towels handy. And I can drop in just a little bit more color. I'll put all 3 of these Deep Sea collection paints in there. So now that I got some new streaks to deepen up the color in, I'll drop in some more. And sop up a little water here and there. I don't really like those ones, so I'm going to spread them out a bit, because they kind of came straight down on their own angle. And I'm just going to fuzz out some of the edges. See if they'll kind of run for me a little bit. Just with plain water. Just using the water on my brush and just tapping into those edges a little bit and bringing them out. I got some paint on my bandage there. Yep, just like that. Just kind of using the water, touching those edges and blending them out onto the paper. Not solid. I leave some dry areas, but anything that I want to just kind of soften it up a little bit. Oh, got a little hair there from my paintbrush. Okay, so now I'm going to get out my spray inks. These are really fun. So you hold them on an angle, but they're really messy, so make sure that you got a paper towel or something to kind of block the spray, because it'll go 3 feet out all over your table and onto other things that you might have on your table. And be quick to wipe it up because it does stain. It's ink, so I wipe it up right away. And I'll get that same quill brush out, and I'm going to spread it around a little bit. So get some water on my brush and leave in some areas. I like how that top left corner turned out. It kind of is granulated because of the spray droplets going into the water. So that's kind of cool. I'm just spraying a little bit of plain water on it. See what happens there. And get a few little marks from the droplets. And I'm going to put some toilet tissue over the top just to control some of those puddles. So you can see wherever you put your fingers down, it kind of leaves a mark there, but I kind of like that. It looks a little marbly effect. But you can always come in and blot if you want. I'm just going to take some water here and spread it out a little bit here and there. There, and I sprinkled a little bit of water from my fingers on there also. So now I'm just blotting it up again. Just to control the water. You don't want it to get too wet because your paper starts to wave, and wherever there's a valley, all your water will pool there, and it'll take so long to dry, and you never really know what effect you got. So this just controls the water. You see, there you go. So I just pull some off, and it lightens it up a little, and it blends it. So I think that looks really pretty. I like that. So now I'm just looking at it. What am I going to do with this? Kind of see a butterfly there in the middle. And if I turn it another way, you know, see what I see there. I like certain areas of it a lot, so I don't want to cover them up. And I'm just turning it in all directions and seeing if I can see any pattern or some idea of where I want to go with this. I kind of like it the original way. I don't think I want to do a butterfly, so I'm going to work on that wave again, because I did like the idea of the wave coming across the painting like it did. So I'm going to just start again, kind of the same way. I'm going to add some clear water, and I'm going to put some paint in there. Mixing my paint here on the side. You can't see my palette. I got a smaller brush and more intense paint. So this is the consistency of whipping cream or melted ice cream. So it's quite thick, and I'm dropping it into that water, so it's watering it down from the water on the paper. And I'm just going to soften one side and leave a hard edge on the other side. So I'm just taking plain water in my brush and just coming down one side of it and softening it out. And I'm leaving the hard edge on the other side. So I'm going to continue putting some water down on my wave here. So enough water to where it's standing right up off the page. And you want to do it in sections because you don't want it to dry. So now I'm going to come back with my nice thick paint. And just kind of gently dropping it into that stream of water, and I'm letting the water carry the paint more than my paintbrush. I'm just kind of tapping it in there. And just softening that one side, leaving the other side the hard edge. Just plain water on my brush. And I come back and soften a few more spots. And I just kind of wiped off my brush and mopped it up into that puddle up there because I want it to spread out and soften out. So that defines my wave a little bit. I think I like that. I'm just softening, keep on softening, because I don't want it to look like a stripe where I softened it on the inside. I want it to blend into that section. So now I'm going to take some more water and just dropping it in and around some of the dry white spots. And I'm going to drop in some color. Now this one, the first one I used was the darker purple one, and this is the medium blue one. From the, let me see, Schminke, I think is how they pronounce that. SCHMINCKE. And it's a super granulation deep sea trio. And put some more water. So I'm going to follow that wave all the way down to the opposite corner there. And just dropping in some of my paint. And this color's a little lighter than the purple. And then coming back with just clean water on my brush and softening out the inner edge. And you can see I put some areas a little darker and some lighter. Intensify that little area there to make it darker. And just some water there and soften that edge in on the interior there. And I'm just looking at it. Let's see, what else do I want to do? What else do I want to do? I think I'll come on the other side of this empty spot and make that wave wider. But I like that granulation that I have going on there on that side. And that was just from the spray bottle. That's just spritz of ink. But I liked how that looked, give it a little texture. I'm kind of going around those white spots and emphasizing them a bit. I'm coming back in with that darker purple. And you can see it's wet on wet, so it's going wherever the water is. And there's water. It's still wet where I had put it on before, so it kind of bloomed into that area, and I like that. Mix and mingle. So they're mingling. And then just some water on my brush and just going around the circles and dropping in a line of water. And come back in with some more of that lighter medium blue one. I should go a little bit darker there. Come back to that. And it's kind of defining my wave. Kind of reminds me of like a agate, rock, or like a geode or something. And I'll come and define this little area here too. Put a little bit more blue in there. And all of this is still wet. Just adding a little bit more color in some of those areas. And just take water on my brush and blend it. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, what am I going to do with it? What's it going to look like? So I'm trying to think, but not too hard. I just want to play and see what happens. If it doesn't turn out, I can just flip the page over. Got a clean side of paper on the back. I can start again. So no pressure. It's just a warm-up, just to get paint on the paper again. Just to start playing. And tilt my tablet here and move some of those puddles around and see if they'll spread out. Oh, I got a good one coming here. Wow, that's quite a bit of water on there. All right, ooh, one's gonna break through. I'll just tap it on the table, just tapping the edge on. I want that puddle to break through, but I want to kind of control it, so I'm turning my tablet and tapping on the table, the one corner, so that my little water droplet will flow the way I want it to. I'm thinking if it wraps around the little wave there instead of going through it, it'll look really cool. So I'm going to try to get that, work it around so it'll go in the direction I want it to. So far so good. I made it around the corner. Yeah, just tapping it on the table. There. Oh, that turned out good. Okay. I'll dab there, soak it up a bit. Okay, so now what do I want to do with that? It did kind of widen out that whole wave on the bottom there. So maybe I want to take advantage of that. Yeah, I'll put some darker, that dark purply one. And then kind of emphasize that area there that's dry. And blend it in with my water. I think I'll leave that right there. Yeah, I kind of like the wave being a little wider on that bottom half. So I'm just gonna come back in and put a little bit deeper color in up there for a little contrast. Because the blue ink that I sprayed, that's pretty dark. So I kind of want the wave to be the main component of this painting. Oh, look at that. I love how the granulation is bleeding into that. That's pretty cool. Kind of breaking it up and giving it a lot of texture. That's pretty neat. I'm going to put some up here and see if it'll do the same thing. Oh yeah, look at that, spreading out. Cool, I like that. Alright, so probably need to add a little bit more. I'll take some more water on the other side, maybe define this wave a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that darker purple one on the other side and see if I can't get it to... Did I say purple? I meant the blue. There's 3 shades. There's a light blue, medium blue, and then the purple. So I'm just seeing if that'll branch out kind of like that darker purple did. And it does a little bit. It probably has to do with the consistency. So, you know, I want to have it more of the heavy cream consistency or melted ice cream because I'm dipping it into water and it's, like I said, dilutes it. So we're going to come back on this side and see if we can't put a little more definition in this wave. Put more of that medium blue. That beeping you're hearing is people texting me, and I'm recording this on my phone, so I apologize for that. One day I'll get a microphone and right now I'm doing with what I have, so okay. I'll turn it over now. Let's see what it looks like the other way. I got these kind of shimmery metallic paints, so I'm going to try to see what those can do for it. I like the idea of having the shine on there. I think I'm going to go with some circles. So I got that kind of light purple color, pinkish purple. And I don't know what to do with this long wing here. It doesn't really go with the butterflies, so I'm going to just go around it and see if I can't make something else of it. So I'm going to put some circles on here. And I'm thinking that color is a little too pink for what I wanted. So I'll let it dry and then come back over it again with something else. And I'll put some over here. So these are from Paul Rubens. And they're kind of a pearlescent and iridescent little set. So they're not really super glittery, but they're shimmery. I might get some of those glittery ones too. They're usually handmade ones. I don't know which ones to get yet, but just for some, butterfly wings or dragonfly wings, I can see a lot of possibilities to use the super glittery ones. Put a few circles on here, so I'm going to build off of these circles, so you probably won't notice much of the blue behind it once I'm all done. So I'm going to just, this is just starting with the center, and I want to have an odd number of them. So I'm going to put a couple more here and there. And put one up here. And that blue ink actually kind of reactivated, which I'm surprised. I thought that would probably stain the paper enough to where it wouldn't move when I re-wetted it, but I must have enough on there still. So let's see, where else do I want to put one? I'll put one right up here in this white spot. And then I got to put something on the other side too. So let's put one right about there. So now it's not really going to be a wave. I'm not quite sure what it is, so we're just going with abstract design. Alright, so that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them there. So that might be good. They're just kind of randomly placed on there. So yeah, I think that's probably enough. I'll just put a little bit of the white, the kind of silver. Let me see, I'll outline my little wave here. Now I'm thinking, like I said, agate. So put some more layers in there. And this, won't show up a ton, but if you get the right light, you'll see it. Just something very subtle. Right on, leaving that darker edge right on the outline of it. Coming in a little bit with my silver. And that's what I love about the tablets, is you can turn them, and that's glued on all 4 sides. So there's 20 sheets of paper all glued together, and then there's like maybe a 2-inch spot where it's not glued together, where you can put like a little palette knife or butter knife in there, and then just slide it around all the edges, and that top piece of paper comes off and the others all stay together. So I like working on the block because you don't have to tape down the edges, and you can paint right up to the edge. So I'm going to outline those little white circles, or not circles, but spaces. A little bit of shimmer there. I think I'd do that on all of those. I like it that you can paint all the way to the edge. It makes it nice for mounting on a wood panel, cradle panel. I like to use the cradle panels, and I take a cradle panel is, it's not a frame, it's a piece of usually birch or wood, and then that's really super smooth on the top, almost like a box lid, and then in the back it has maybe 1-inch support boards, I guess, that make like the lid part of it. And what's nice about them is you can paint directly on them with like acrylic paint, but with watercolor, what I do is I take my watercolor painting, the whole the paper, I use gel medium and glue it to the wood panel, and then I can seal it with Dorlin wax. So I like to put 3 layers of Dorlin wax on top of that. Let it dry really good, and then you can buff that wax and it will come up to a gloss if you want, or you can do like a matte. And then if you just let it dry for a couple weeks, it dries hard so that it's not like wax, it's more like a varnish then. And that's permanent. You can't, do anything ever on it. It's once you do that, you've done it. But I really like that look because it's modern, very contemporary look. And for something like this painting, going to be abstract, that really lends itself together like that. And it has like a 1.5 inch deep side on it that you can paint, colors, or leave it natural, or varnish it, or just put the wax on it and it seals it. So it protects the painting and, from moisture and humidity. I wouldn't say it's waterproof, but it has wax all the way around it, so it's hard to penetrate that. But it just kind of protects it a little bit. So if you had something like in a room that's a little more humid, that would really work out well there. So now I'm going to take my quill, and I got some paint in there, and I'm just going to start playing around with these circles. And I didn't like that blob that came off my quill, so my paint's a little too thin there. So I'm just going to take some water, blot it back up. There, that's good enough. So I'll let that dry, and I'll try to load my quill a little better here. And I just kind of wanted to do something very loose. It's, just kind of hand drawn, and maybe some that go outside of the lines a little bit. I'm not sure what these are going to be right now at this point. So I just start somewhere. So I'm just drawing around the outside. Go out of the lines. And I'm testing it on a piece of paper on the side too, because of what happened to that first one. I didn't test it, and I put too much in there and it made a blob. So here I'm just going to kind of do a rough circle. Oh, okay, I'll go back and do rough circles on the other ones too. This paper has a bit of texture to it. It's rough paper, so it has a little texture, and probably be better if it was a little smoother for drawing on, but it's kind of cool for the texture wise, as far as with the granulation paints. See if this one's dry here, and I'll come back and do some of these little rough circles. And load my quill again, and here we go on this one. Yep, I don't want to do anything too precise. I just wanna play. Now I'm thinking it's kind of cosmic. Yeah, my text message just beeped again. It's funny, I never get many text messages until I start recording. I want to get the bleed proof white out now. I'm thinking I'll do some little circles around the outside in the white and see how that looks. Kind of like a nest, I'm thinking. So I'm going to use the quill again. I put some on my quill, and I got some watered down stuff right in the middle here, so I'm just going to dip it in there and get it working here. There, you can't see it too much, but I'm putting that white on. And I'm just going to go around and do a whole bunch of those messy circles around it and let them crisscross and get out of the lines a little bit. Scribble circles. Come out a bit. Yeah, it's looking like a space scene now with planets or something and stars, and in those, where I put the water in the blue ink. It's like little explosions of stars. I still got a little bit too much of that black on that one there. It's starting to pool. Yeah, and I'm going to do that to all of them here. You can see it a little better on the darker. Yeah, that one's more what I had in mind. If you like watching my videos, if you do me a favor and push the subscribe button, that way you'll have my channel ready so that you can find it very easily. And it also helps me with my YouTube channel. So as I grow, I'll get, better equipment and better lighting, and I'm just kind of learning how to do the YouTube at this point, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you're enjoying it. And there's also a like button and a notification. So the like button just tells me that you liked it. Notifications will tell you whenever I put a new video out. And I'm going to put a new video out at least once a week. And now I'm just going to tap on some of that white, kind of looking like a little miniature solar system. So I'm going really close to my painting because I don't want it to go too far out. So I'm just holding it like an inch above and tapping that watered down white on the back of another brush. Now I'm going to paint in some lines going across for some movement. Make them a little thicker here and there and thinner here and there. I kind of drew a few in with the pencil first so I have something to follow. But on that rough paper you can see it kind of gives a little dry brush effect. See, like right there. Especially there. So I have to see if I like that or not. I can come over it a little bit. There. And put one right across here. So I'm avoiding going directly horizontal, giving it a lot of curves and overlapping. I want to overlap it, but I don't want to go over my wave. I still think I want to feature the wave. So I'm going to go behind so it looks like they're going behind the wave. And I'm trying to avoid going straight into the corners. Get a little close, but not directly into the point of the corner. And keep turning it around. I think that's enough. I think that's enough lines. And then I'm going to come in on the intersections and do a little softening up the points. So soften those corners. So I'm going to round off all the corners of the intersections. So anywhere there's a sharp corner. Whoop, I just dabbed my brush on the painting. Okay, I missed one over there, didn't I? I gotta go back and get that one. I think that kind of gives it a neat effect. I keep lifting my brush up into the negative space there. Okay, that can just be a little thicker. And I'm just going to do it where they're crisscrossing. So now with that on there, it doesn't look so much like a solar system kind of thing. So now we're getting more of a abstract design. And wherever the white dots from the bleed-proof white are, the paint doesn't want to stick to those too good. So it gives it a little bit of a dotty effect there under some of my lines. I'm thinking I might go with that look. I'm thinking I might put some white dots on there. Soften it out. 'Cause I still want to feature my little wave going down the middle, and this kind of looks overpowering. So I'm going to soften that out. And I gotta get that one that I missed over there. I'm taking a look here, see what else I missed. So soften that one. And then that white kind of bled into my black. I didn't realize it was still wet, so I went over that a little bit. And I thought, well, what would it look like if I just did some circles around that white? Now they kind of got washed out with all those dark lines. And a little bit of puddle of that white. I didn't realize it wasn't dry. Sometimes I get impatient. So now what are these circles going to be? I don't know. We'll just keep playing and find out. So this is just like doodling, like when you're on the phone and you're talking and you're scribbling, especially in the olden days when you had the phone connected to the wall. I don't know if you all remember that, but you'd sit there with a notepad by your phone and your shoulder holding the phone up to your ear and draw on your notepad while you're talking. Get your best doodles that way. So yeah, what do I do about that blob that was there? So I'm just going to put a stripe right over it. One more horizontal, kind of, but make it curved. I don't want to make it straight. So how am I going to curve it? Let's curve it down here. I can go down. There we go. And maybe touch that other dot circle since I got a couple already touching. Close to it, and then avoid that direct point of the corner. Okay, so I got one more there. So now I have to curve out those edges. Trying to make it nice and smooth. And now that made that black area even more prominent, so I'm definitely going to put some white dots on there. And then I have to thicken up that line a little bit, smooth it out. Okay, well, I think that line was pretty good. It's a good thing to do. Oh yeah, I got some corners here I better soften out, round them out. And then where those circles are touching the line, that makes a sharp corner. So I'm going to soften that out which now that connects that circle right to that line. So almost like it's growing off of it, and I keep getting a little carried away with my brush there. So I'm using the rigger brush for doing this because it's got nice long bristles. And I keep just going into that poor little circle, and it's getting a little lopsided. So I'll kind of straighten it out a little. And I see another one that's touching the line, so I should do the same thing to that one over here. So soften out that corner. Okay. And now the one on the left, maybe I'll leave that one alone. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to my Posca pens. So these are paint pens, and they come with different size nibs from very fine to very, very large and chunky. So this is a fine one. And I'm just going to draw. These are the kind of pens you kind of pump them to get the paint flow in. So as you can see, I put all those little white dots in all the black lines. So I think that made it look kind of neat. And now I'm thinking I enjoy drawing a lot. So this is what they call Zentangle. Zentangle. And that just means it's a repetitive design that you draw on there. So I'm going to do a little Zentangle. So that makes it kind of zen-like. It's relaxing to do this. So I'm just doing a taller line and a shorter line, and I'm putting a little dot on top of the line as I go. And in the corners, you got to do them kind of more on an angle. See that? To kind of get them to curve with you. What's neat about the dots is you can make a bigger dot or a smaller dot, or place at different areas on the line to kind of make the line straighter if you want. So I did that on all of the ones, like kind of every other space there. And then I started thinking, oh, I'm going to do the same thing on my circles. So you can see I did Zentangle on my circles. So I just draw some organic shapes, I guess, and then do some lines, because now I'm thinking it's like sea, like the sea polyps in the ocean and a wave going through it. And then this is like a little pebbly or bubbles design. So I'm just drawing circles that are a little bit bigger and then filling in around it with the small circles. So you can see that big circles filled in with little small circles, so they're all irregular shapes. And you can see kind of my little designs there with my Zentangle. So I kind of made a wave of bubbles. And now I'm just going to draw some lines, kind of like coral would have. And they're all coming from that inner curve. And I'm putting some little random dots. So I'm not lining them up perfectly. I'm kind of going with my lines where they're not really straight and they're more curved. I'm just putting a dot on them there. So it covers up your imperfections. So your eye goes to the dot, not the wave that you drew there, or didn't get it exactly how you wanted it to be. And then I'm also not putting the dots directly across from each other if I can help it. I don't want it to look like they're all lined up, although you could do that. But on this design, I want them to look more random. So see, I'm just kind of adding some dots. So then once it's all done, even though some of my lines are a little bit more squiggly than they should be, you won't see it. You'll just see all those dots. So I'm thinking that my circles, they kind of are like sea urchins, but they're not really sea urchins, but there's some sea creature. And I put those little circles inside my little shimmery spots too on those circles. So I'm just kind of looking to see how I can balance it out. I want to leave some negative space. I don't want to fill in every section. I'm trying to figure out where I could put the lines, if I want to come from this direction, or I think I like it from up there better. And then this is not exactly directly across from the ones I just finished, but on the other side of the paper. So I'll kind of make them come like they fed off of each other. So now I'm just going to kind of finish it out like that, like they just stop there at that darker line. And I'm going to bring it down, but not touching that wave part. And I'll just put some dots in there. Same way as we did on the other side. Maybe 1 here, 2 here, 3 there. Leave a space, make it tighter. Spread them out a little bit. And then kind of go in between them to start with. And then spreading them out, grouping them together tighter. If I had a black Posca pen, I would have done it with that. But this is my Micron, which is also acid-free. And now I'm going to draw some little sea plants. So I'm just starting out with drawing its branches. And you can see as I'm drawing these, I'm not going horizontal off of that main stem, but every stem that I add, it's almost like a V. It's a V shape. Instead of coming straight out. If you come straight out, it looks a little unnatural. And I want them to look kind of swoopy with a thicker tip on them. Almost like a teardrop. So I'm drawing a circle first, a dot, I'm filling it in, and then I'm drawing from my branch over to the top of the dot and making a little teardrop on the very end of each branch. So basically it's a leaf, like a little sea plant. I've been drawing these since I was a little kid. My little doodles on my homework. So see that, just a little bit of a teardrop shape, and the teardrop can curve, and I'm also darkening the branch itself a little bit as I do this. And I'm going to add a few little bunches of these little vegetative branches here and there scattered around the painting wherever there's some empty pockets that could use a little bit of something. But now I have to be very careful not to fill up the entire space with doodles, because I want to leave a little calm areas for your eye to rest. So with the ones that have the little dashes with dots in, I don't think I'm going to put anything in there, but in these empty spaces where they don't have anything coming on the inside, I think I'll add some more of these little sea branches. So I'm drawing them on, and then as I draw, I'm thinking of V, like a V shape. They can be narrow V's or longer V's. One side of the V can be longer and the other side shorter. And then where need be, I'm adding a new branch. So I'm doing right there. And I'm putting my little leaves on the edges, on the tips. And I'm throwing in a couple at the bottom to ground it. Just darkening up my branches a little bit as I go along. And I'm just adding in some little shorter ones that I didn't really draw on there with the branch, to kind of fill it in. There's all kinds of designs that you can use for Zentangle. If you look it up on the internet, it'll pop up all these different patterns that people have come up with. Some are really intricate and they're really beautiful. So if you're a doodler, you would enjoy this Zentangle technique. It's pretty relaxing. So now you can see it starting to take shape. I'm putting a little bit of curve in there, give it some movement. And you can see where I've put them in there. Here and there, but not everywhere, just a few. And now I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit of dots around those white spaces that I had left. And then I outlined them. And now I'm going to put some dots there. Right over where that shimmery metallic is, give it a little bit of contrast, draw your eye to it. And since I have dots everywhere, so it kind of makes sense to put a few in. And I'm just kind of finding them here and there and outlining them. Okay, so I got all my dots in there, and I'm taking a good look at it. Does it need anything else? I think it's pretty balanced, and I like it. All right. Well, I appreciate that you have watched my video all the way to the end. Thank you so very much, and for all of those who have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the like button and notifications if you want. So be creative, be free, be BSwiftArt, and I hope that you have peace and love in your life until we see you again. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.